The Alter Rebbe was profoundly affected in his system of thinking by the Shalach HaKodesh and Maharal. There is something in Teres Nista which is not communicated through language. It's communicated through imagery, through symbol. They call it allegory. Allegory is speaking to the metaphor. That's the first level of, let's say, that's the function of the jester. The jester is someone who one can introduce into any situation, and through humor, sometimes he's the one that can communicate the most profound message. The Shalach HaKodesh tells a story to explain the pasuk in Koheles, Ecclesiastics, by King Solomon, Shlomo Melech. Hevel Havalim, Akol Hevel. Hevel Havalim is the concept of God's breath. The Alter Rebbe speaks about the fact that where the Baal Shem Tov talks about divine providence, that the enlivening breath, the expression of God in the mystique of the narratives that we get caught up in, that there is an underlying meaning, where levels of meaning is the mystique. So Hevel Havalim is that the breath of God is creating not only the elements of creation, which talking about the molecules, but the kinetic movement between the molecules, the interaction. There is an evolving narrative that we can only see within a fairly shallow dimension, both in time and in space. But sometimes the narrative can, if you can follow the allegory. So the Shalach HaKodesh says in Parshas Kisavai, tells the story that there were two Tanoim. Tanoim were the authors of the Mishnah. This was at the time of the beginning of exile, when we had the enlightened souls, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Eliezer. So these Tanoim were going down the street, narrow dust road, on horseback, and they came to a cripple on the path who was in crutches, and they hesitated and exchanged a word between themselves, and this is brought down. The story is brought down into Tikkun Zohar. Are we going to just go past this cripple, or is he a master of the secrets of the universe, and are we going to insult him by just going by on our horseback and as though he doesn't exist? So they decide to engage him in conversation, and they ask him if he's a master of the esoteric secrets, and he says, if you want to know about that, you have to meet me at the mouth of that cave. So he goes back to hobbling along on the dirt road with his crutches, and they say to each other, he obviously is a master. We have to be careful with everything that we say and we do in his presence, because the righteous have great powers in the celestial spheres, not necessarily does one see in a moment the consequence of insulting a master of the esoteric. So they don't want to offend him, and they're not sure whether they should proceed on the horseback and get there before him and then wait for him, or whether they should wait for him, because if they're waiting for him, then it's also insulting him. If they go ahead of him, but they said, let's go with what he told us. He told us to go to the mouth of the cave. Let's go. They go to the mouth of the cave at normal speed. He's there waiting for them. He says, come in. They go into the mouth of the cave. They get off their horses. They go into the mouth of the cave. And they go to the mouth of the cave at normal speed. He's there waiting for them. He says, come in. They go into the mouth of the cave. They get off their horses. They go into the mouth of the cave. And two celestial bodies, like angels, come to the cripple as he walks into the cave. And they remove his crippled body and then escort him into one of the caves. And they see that there are actually 7 caves. And each of one of them has a sign, an eagle and a crescent. Each of the. This one was different. It was like the all-encompassing cave that was most beckoning, and that's where he was. That's where he was taken, and they were asked to take their place at the back of the hall, sit down. So what they see there is this angelic rabbi who appears to be ageless, and this light is shining through him, and there are hundreds of students. All of them are great learned scholars, and when he walks in, they all stand up, and when he sits down, they all sit down. To know him, realize that they've gotten themselves over their heads. The shir that's going on is the shir is the secrets of Ana B'Choyach. Ana B'Choyach is the 42 letters of God's name that are basically the etzem of it's so close to the essence that it actually cannot be formed in terms of a name. It's above name. And that corresponds, Ana B'Choyach, to the 42 journeys in the desert, the 42 expeditions, the encampments, the expeditions of the soul. In over a 2,000 year, however long the cycle is, that the soul has to go through reincarnations until it reaches its level of perfection. In other words, before there's a narrative for the 42 stages of each individual's mission through the journey of the universe, which is the sum total of all of the collective experiences of that soul from the time of creation until the time of Mashiach. The reason why, I'm just getting off the subject now, is why so many crazy things are happening is because we've run out of time. And in order to compress everything into this final journey, lots of narratives appear bizarre, very unusual, including people living short lives. everything is coming to the end, and that includes the Holocaust. But the Tznoim in the story try to run out, and the angels who were guarding that cave, they say to them, once you come in here, you have to stay. You have to listen. And they're being burned by the fire of the truth that's being revealed in these secrets. Now, when we say Ana B'choyach, it's a passage that we say between Friday and between Shabbos. There's a mystical time which was just before Shabbos, after the 6 days of creation, where it was not Chol, it was not week, and it was not Shabbos. It was Bein Hashmashos. During that period of time, certain eternal things were created, like Moses' staff, the donkey of Bilam, which will be the same donkey, it will be the same donkey for Mashiach, the Ayal Acher, that was there was the calf that shows up at various points in the story of Tanakh. I think it first shows up and it shows Abraham. The Ayal runs into the cave and shows Abraham where Hashem wants him to bury Sarah, and it's the same one that's used for Kedas Yitzchak. So the idea of the Hevel Habalim, of the Ana B'choyach, that is something that we say between the 6 days of the 6th day and the 7th day, and it's 7 psukim with 6 letters. That's 42. If you see on the right side, it says Ana B'choyach Kedulas Yemincha Tazit Trura, and on the left side it will have Ana Aleph B'choyach base. Gimel Gedulas, and so on. When you spell it on the left, those are the words that we're not allowed to say. But we are meant to be niskaven, meant to be meditating when we say Ana B'choyach on the words that those Rosh Tevos are spelling. So, for instance, the first passage reads Aleph base, which is Shem Av, Gimel, which is the Gimel Kedas Tzimeas, Yitatz, will be ripped up. When Mashiach comes, the Gimel Klippers will be shredded. That's one of the secrets of Ana B'choyach. When it comes to the pasuk of Tes Nun Ayin, it's Chatum, sealed. Kates boy. It has the Kates in it. What is the Kates? Ta'amun, it's hidden. Nister Ayin, the secret of the letter Ayin. Now, Ayin we see also in Eishes Chayil, when we say, Boy b'shalom ateres b'ayla gam v'dina u'talam. That is Boy b'shalom ateres b'ayla, the crowning. The crowning is what we do by elevating the sparks of the Shekhinah, by elevating the godly sparks in exile, is that we crown the king, as we return his creation to him to be through a process of elevation. And all of the mitzvahs, the whole entire morality and all the mitzvahs are really in order to allow us to elevate those sparks. Now, when it says Taman is the iron, where do we see iron? It says, the idea of Kran, Ateres Baila, is now that we're now in the decade of iron, in Tovshin, iron. Hey. So between Tovshin Ayin and Tovshin Pei, this decade is the decade of Mashiach.